Introduction. A game suddenly appeared on Lu Yoxing's phone. At first, he thought it was a garbage game downloaded automatically from advertisements, but he didn't expect it to be a very magical farming game. Seeds from reality can be planted in games, grown rapidly, and then harvested in reality, sold for profit. When he used a regular strawberry seed and planted it. Chapter 1. Magical Manor Games. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Ads by Google equals window. Ads by Google. Push. There are two things that are most unbearable during the peak summer season. Mosquitoes and heat. Fortunately, it can all be solved with air conditioning. Unfortunately, Lu Yoxing had to stay in a warehouse without air conditioning all day long. Pop. Feeling itching on his face, Lu Yoxing raised his hand and slapped him. Buzz, the mosquito flew away at some point, buzzing in front of him as if mocking his incompetence. He felt a fiery expression on his face and was so angry that he turned the fan to maximum with his backhand. Wow, the mosquito was finally blown away. Lu Yoxing saw that it was safe, so he quickly turned down the fan again. Electricity bills are invisible mosquitoes. Most of the space in the warehouse is empty, and the vast warehouse is very quiet, with only the sound of fans whistling. Lu Yoxing sighed with a complex expression, wearing a head full of buns. It has been 2 years since I graduated from university. Nothing has been achieved. My ancestors were already poor, but my parents came out of the countryside and worked hard in this third-tier small city for most of their lives. I don't know where I heard that this place is going to build a commercial district, so I became obsessed and used all my savings to buy land and build houses. Not enough money, even borrowed over 200,000 yuan from someone. I hope to become wealthy once the price of real estate rises. As a result, this place has always been a deserted wilderness where birds don't poop. My father looked forward to 1 year and 2 years, but in the end, he felt exhausted and passed away due to a serious illness. Later, he found out that his father had already contracted cancer due to overwork. My father couldn't bear to take the money to treat his illness, and coincidentally, he heard about the situation here. Just thinking about leaving him a fortune before he dies, hoping that he will have a worry-free life. However, reality is always unsatisfactory. Before buying the land, my mother had tried to dissuade my father several times, but she was unsuccessful. After my father left, my mother became depressed and unhappy. Lu Yoxing was worried about his mother's own accidents, so after graduating from university, he returned to his hometown from the provincial capital. He studied horticultural technology. It is said to be horticultural techniques, but in fact, the main course is vegetable cultivation. My employment direction is pesticide traffickers, but selling pesticides is also not possible. In this small county town, he has no worries or capital, it's simply difficult to move forward. After hitting the wall a few times, he knew that this business couldn't be done. Finally, with a stroke of inspiration, this half-built house was transformed into a warehouse, and people made a living by storing things. Although this place is remote, a road has indeed been built in recent years. The unlucky guy who bought the land here to build a house is not just his father. I saw that road construction started here, and I also started renovating. These people are the main customers of Lu Yoxing, storing some furniture and so on. The money he earns is nothing compared to his life in debt. A month is only a few thousand yuan, and there is no way to repay the debt. And once these 2 years have passed and these people no longer need to store things, they will be unemployed. Wait for the legendary commercial district to be built. Lu Yoxing thinks that compared to this, dreaming is more realistic. Thinking of this, he felt a bit depressed and took out his phone to browse boredly. Hey, fantastic Manor. It's a game, right? When did I download it? Looking at the 9-grid farmland icon added to his phone, he thought with some confusion. After careful consideration, I must have accidentally clicked on some open-screen advertisement and downloaded it automatically. The current advertising has developed to such an extent. They silently downloaded a game for me. Lu Yoxing frowned slightly, but hesitated for a moment before uninstalling directly. He had originally planned to play some games and relax. Now there's no need to choose. That's it. Fingers clicked on the farmland icon, and a barren yellow soil appeared on the screen. There are faintly 9 grids of farmland in the middle of the wasteland, which seems to have been cultivated in the early years, but later became barren and overgrown with weeds. There is a shovel icon in the bottom right corner of the screen and a task scroll icon in the top left corner. Apart from that, there is nothing else. Is the style so simple? Lu Yoxing had a slight interest. It was the first time he had seen a game with such clean graphics. Click on the task scroll. There is only one task above. Clearing farmland. 0/9. As a seasoned gaming enthusiast, Lu Yoxing can easily understand at a glance. He immediately clicked on the shovel icon in the lower right corner, and the shovel followed his finger to the yellow soil. Shwa 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 divide 3 by 5 by 2. A 9-palace grid field was recultivated by him. A message pops up immediately. However, he didn't care to check the specific content and bumped his head against the table. Dong! I'm getting a headache from the collision. But this headache was completely ignored by him. Because he is now sore all over, especially in his waist, back, and hands, with no strength at all, and the pain is almost cramping. Sweating profusely. What's going on? He suppressed the pain and sat up with a grin on his face. How do you feel like you've really been working in the fields all afternoon? Thinking of this, he instinctively looked back at the phone interface. The message that pops up in the game is: Clearing farmland. September 9th. Task completed. Magical Manor game successfully bound. Manor Master. Lu Yoxing. Asset. Simple farmland. He was stunned when he saw the pop-up message, his heart pounding. How do you know his name is Lu Yoxing in this game? If it were in the past, he would think it was an information leak and immediately uninstall the game that stole information. But the soreness on his body made him somewhat uncertain. I vaguely felt that something special had happened to him. He didn't hesitate and immediately began exploring the game. However, he searched inside and out, but couldn't find any useful clues. This game is really clean and somewhat rudimentary. It's the 9-palace grid field, task scroll, and shovel. Besides that, there's nothing else. There is an additional task in the task scroll. High-grade wood. 0/50, but in this screen, apart from the newly cleared 9-palace grid field, there are vast wastelands. This game also does not have a protagonist character, it is directly controlled by hand and cannot be explored by movement. Zhao's.com. I don't know where the wood comes from. Don't talk about wood. Farmland is mainly used for farming, so at least there must be seeds or channels to obtain seeds, right? There's nothing, no hint. Wait a minute. Lu Yoxing felt the pain all over his body and suddenly thought of a possibility. Although he is not entirely sure yet, his pain is caused by clearing the farmland in the game. However, this does not affect his assumption. Assuming that he cleans up farmland in the game, which is equivalent to farming in reality, it will cause a lot of soreness all over his body. Is there a possibility that seeds from reality can be planted in games? Seed, here I am. By the way, the manager of the nearby cake shop brought a bag of strawberries today. Lu Yoxing immediately stood up and found the bag of strawberries from the garbage dump. This strawberry is a bit sour. He ate a few and then threw it away. At this point, pull it out and use a toothpick to pick out the dark green sesame seed-sized object on the surface of the strawberry. This thing is the seeds of strawberries. He didn't pick too much, only took one, carefully holding it in his hand and slowly reaching towards the phone screen. He held his breath and watched the process without blinking his eyes. The seed reached the edge of the screen, and with a force, its finger poked into the screen, making a soft click. And seeds, the seed has disappeared. Upon closer inspection, a thin strawberry seed lay quietly on the field poked by his finger in the game. After taking a few more glances, a line of information inexplicably came to his mind. Time to mature. 11:59, 54 seconds remaining. The seconds kept counting down in his eyes. Chapter 2. Qixi Festival. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Ads by Google equals window. Ads by Google. Push, it's really done. Lu Youxing was pleasantly surprised. Has it finally been his turn to possess this incredible wealth? He was excited for a while before gradually calming down and thinking of some questions he hadn't thought about earlier. The most crucial question is, can strawberries only be used in games after they mature, or can they be raised? If he can't bring it up, then it's just a rather unique game and won't provide him with much help. And if we could bring it up, he dare not think any further, afraid of being disappointed even more in the end. Anyway, just wait for 12 hours and you'll know everything. But he didn't wait either. Idle is also idle. He poured out all the strawberries in the bag and planned to plant all the seeds. But now there's no need for toothpicks. Picking one by one is too troublesome and can easily damage the seeds. At least he graduated from the field of landscape design, and he knows some tips for picking seeds. Take a tissue and spread it out on the table. Then, with a small knife, carefully cut off the skin of the strawberry and place it on a tissue with the surface facing upwards. The remaining strawberry flesh was thrown away. It's too sour, I don't want to eat it. In this way, he obtained a tissue with strawberry skin in the middle. In no time, the strawberry skin dried. The tissue was made blood red by strawberry juice, with deep green sesame-sized seeds growing in the middle. He held a tissue in one hand and gently rubbed it with the other, causing all the seeds to quickly fall off. He immediately picked 8 that looked fuller and planted them into the game, occupying the remaining 8 fields. Time to mature. 11:59, 57, time to mature. 11:59, 51 seconds remaining. He looked over one by one and found that these strawberries had started to grow. I hope you can give me a surprise. I really want to get rich. Watching the ripening time of these strawberries gradually decrease, Lu Youxing couldn't help but think. Time slowly passes by in anticipation. Business is good, buddy. At almost 6 o'clock in the afternoon, he was about to finish work when he saw a carefree young man walking in with a smile. This person is wearing a floral shirt, big shorts, and flip-flops, with a touch of natural and unrestrained temperament. He looked at the furniture and other items in half of the warehouse and nodded with a sigh. There are few shops opened in this area that can generate stable profits, and the warehouse of Lu Youxing is one of them. Some stores operate completely at a loss. For example, this cake shop operated by a person named Zhao Youwei. The strawberries he sent were very sour. As soon as Lu Youxing saw him, he couldn't resist roast and said, "No wonder your cake sales are not good when you use such fruits." Zhao Youwei rolled his eyes. Is that a problem with fruits? Unless the fruits in the cake are so delicious that they have a good reputation, they are almost enough. Of course, I was tricked this time. In the future, let's go to the fruit shop to buy instead of going to the small stall. My store's business is not doing well mainly due to the environmental issues in this dilapidated place, and I don't know how those guys at the headquarters have a long mind. They opened the store here, causing me to suffer along with them. Originally, it was a chain cake shop. Lu Youxing seemed lost in thought. Hey, I said, today's Qixi festival, you are still working. What's good about this broken warehouse? Zhao Youwei was puzzled and said. Lu Youxing regained consciousness and patted his forehead. Today's Qixi. It's broken. As he spoke, he hurried Zhao Youwei out of the warehouse and began to close the door. Amidst the thunderous sound of the rolling shutter closing, Zhao Youwei said in silence, "I really don't understand how a woman like you can be admired by someone of that level." Lu Yoxing couldn't hear very clearly, but he continued to guess and understood the meaning. He chuckled. "Close the door, get on the electric bike, and casually ask. You playboy didn't have any activities today. Shouldn't you?" "Who said no? I'm waiting for my dedicated mount. Isn't that right? Are you wearing this to pick up girls?" Lu Yoxing looked at the other person's big toes fluttering in a flip-flop and tugged at the corner of his mouth. Zhao Youwei snorted and sneered, "Isn't it extraordinary? Hee, only those who can see through my wild and unrestrained appearance, the rich and ever-changing spiritual world in my heart, deserve the favor of my master." He had just finished speaking when a tractor came to a stop, and the driver got off the car and headed straight for Zhao Youwei. It wasn't until their handover was over that Lu Yoxing regained his senses. The dedicated mount mentioned by this guy is actually a tractor. Watching Zhao Youwei roar and drive away with a tractor, Lu Yoxing was stunned. Interestingly, it's hard to understand the thoughts of wealthy people. He waited for the tractor to walk for a while before getting on the road, so as not to follow behind and eat dust. More than half an hour later, he arrived downstairs at a self-study room in Ningcheng. "We drove all the way and finally arrived before 7 o'clock. He relaxed and parked his electric bike. Looking around, there are already some people gathered here, even wealthy second-generation drivers of BMW and Audi, holding flowers and waiting for their respective partners. Lu Yoxing also went to the nearby flower shop and said, "Boss, bring me a pink rose. She likes pink. Just one is enough. Today is a special day." The boss is a middle-aged woman who chuckled and pointed to a beautifully packaged bouquet of roses, saying, "This bouquet of flowers is the best selling in our store today, with 13 red roses and 14 pink roses, symbolizing a lifetime. The price is only 520 yuan. Lu Yoxing glanced at it and it was indeed very beautiful. On this bouquet of flowers, there is even more luxurious, Mian AI, priced at 99.99. A huge bunch of roses, no one can take them. After admiring for a while, he looked at the boss at the book garden www.zhaosuiyuan.com and said, "Are you ready? A rose." The boss quickened his movements and quickly packaged a rose in bud, with a smile on his face as he said, "All right, it's 13.14 yuan. How about not blowing this rose for the gentleman for now? When the gentleman receives his girlfriend, he can blow the rose hard, and the rose will bloom on the spot." Lu Yoxing nodded and agreed. After paying, he turned around with the rose and left. "Heart, there's one thing you said wrong. Not a girlfriend, it's a wife. Not bad, he is young and already has a wife. Her name is Mu Yuha." When discussing marriage, her family found out that his family had no power, and they were also in debt of several 100,000 yuan. They firmly refused to let her marry. Just as her family was planning to get her engaged to someone else, she left home in the middle of the night and followed him back to Ningcheng. A wedding was held and a banquet was set up. Just didn't get her household registration book, so far, the two haven't got a marriage certificate. 2 years have passed, and his life is still stuck in a quagmire, with no hope in sight. He has seen or heard more than once that her family and friends have messaged her, saying she is foolish and that she should have tasted something now, right? Poor couple, sorry for everything. She didn't take it seriously, thinking that as long as two people love each other, it's enough. Debt or something will always be paid off, it's not a gambling debt. She tried to avoid him from these messages as much as possible, afraid that he would feel sad when he saw them. While Lu Yoxing was guarding the warehouse, she was not idle either. Her undergraduate degree in her major is far from enough, so she plans to take the postgraduate entrance exam and spends the whole day in the self-study room. Chapter 3. Strawberry Ripening, 1 Ben Wanli. You are listening at novel full.audio. Ads by Google equals window. Ads by Google. Push. Thinking about these things, Lu Yoxing leisurely walked back to the downstairs of the study room and waited quietly. Next to him stood a handsome young man dressed in a famous brand, looking like a wealthy second generation. In front of this wealthy second generation is a large handful of roses, which are actually worth 9,999 yuan of continuous love, very eye-catching. Most passing women cast envious glances upon seeing this continuous love. Even more eye-catching was a black Bentley parked beside him. Here in Ningcheng, this is a very high-end luxury car. These two things are placed next to each other, and the wealthy second generation seems to be draped with a halo, dazzling and eye-catching. Compared to him, Lu Yoxing standing beside him appeared somewhat dim and lifeless. Lu Yoxing was very calm, glanced at him, and then withdrew his gaze. Humph, I specifically borrowed Bentley from my dad, and with this continuous love, I guarantee success in one fell swoop. The wealthy second generation is full of ambition. This study room was invested by one of his uncles, and he has been here a few times, so he knows that a beautiful woman has arrived here in the past few months. After seeing it with his own eyes, he was immediately amazed. However, he is experienced and knows that such women will not lack followers. If you approach someone rashly, you are likely to be rejected. Fortunately, after multiple inquiries, he found out that the woman came from the provincial capital and had a college classmate who had met him before. With this relationship, the success rate of chatting up is likely to be much higher. Just as she was thinking about it, the door to the study room opened and a woman walked out, wearing a plain long dress and holding a few books in her arms. The simple attire stunned everyone at the moment and the gentle breeze blew outside. She's here, she's coming towards me. The wealthy second generation took a deep breath, tidied up their excited mood, put on the most perfect smile, took a step forward, and said, "Hello." The conversation came to a sudden halt as the wealthy second generation realized that the beautiful woman had ignored him and walked towards his side and back. His face stiffened, and he immediately turned around to look at it in defiance. Do you want to know who is more impressive than him in Ningcheng? At the next moment, he was stunned. What's special is that he's a poor guy driving an electric bike, holding a bunch of shabby roses, and the total price of his clothes is not even 200. So poor, I must not be happy. Perhaps I still have a chance. He didn't give up, but the scene he saw immediately made him burst into tears. Oh my goodness, what did he see? The beautiful woman placed the book on the ground and took out an unopened red box from her backpack. Surprisingly, it's a Switch game console. It is quite rare for women to give gifts on Valentine's Day, but it is obvious that they have put a lot of effort into it. He's here to pick up girls, not to eat dog food, gone. I used my free time to write copy online and earn money to buy it. Happy Valentine's Day. Mu Yuha smiled sweetly and handed the Switch to Lu Yoxing. Lu Yoxing was pleasantly surprised in his heart and took it in his hand. He then exhaled and blew away the rose in his hand, handing it to her and saying, "Happy Valentine's Day." Mu Yuha's smile grew stronger, revealing two cute dimples. She put the books in her backpack, obediently led by Lu Yoxing, got on the electric bike, and left. At this moment, the wealthy second generation felt that the Bentley around them had instantly become vulgar, while the electric car stood tall and carried true love. And the large bouquet of roses around him was just a bloated flower. It's really a flower stuck on cow dung. The wealthy second generation came to his senses and couldn't help but curse, getting on the car and about to leave. Stopped by the security guard in the study room. "Sir, are these roses yours? Please take care of them." The wealthy second generation lazily got off the car, wanting to cry without tears. "Lienzi, there was a wealthy second generation driving a Bentley just now, did you see it?" On the electric bike, Lu Yoxing asked while riding. Lianzi is a nickname given by Lu Yoxing to Mu Yuha. Mu Yuha pressed her face against his back, wrapped her hands around his waist, and watched as the street scenery kept receding. She closed her eyes slightly and smiled, saying, "I see it, but I don't like it." "Oh. Why?" When he walked towards me, he took his left foot first. "Haha. No, you pay so much attention to him. You can even see which foot he took first. Who asked him to stand there, obscuring one strand of his husband's dazzling light? It was simply a great rebellion." "Ha ha ha. So, what if I were driving a Bentley and waiting for you downstairs with such a big bunch of roses? Oh, you love roses so much. Then reward you for walking and bringing that rose home. How about that? It's my wife's endless love." "No, it's not. So much hype, how can I bring it? And you? I slowly drove the car and watched you from behind, just like watching you play games. How about that? Are you satisfied?" Cough, pretty good, pretty good. Hee hee. When I returned to the rental house after buying groceries, it was already 7:30. Wash the rice in the pot under the rain, pack the ingredients, and prepare for stir-frying. Lu Yoxing stood next to her, occasionally pinching dishes. Mu Yuha rolled her eyes and said angrily, "Don't pretend, go take a shower, and then you can go play the Switch. Don't you always really want to have a game console? You can have enough fun tonight." Lu Yoxing hugged her from behind and whispered in her ear. "That thing can be played at any time. Today is Qixi, and I want to play Lotus Seeds, mercilessly. Oh my itch." Mu Yuha twisted her body to avoid it, only to find that she was holding him tightly and decided to calm down. Hummed and looked at him with a smile on his face. "Can you do it? You'll just talk big. How can a man say no?" He looked at Mu Yuha's beautiful face, her soft and curvy figure, and felt his blood boil as he breathed heavily. "You just wait." After speaking, I changed my clothes and went to the bathroom to take a shower. After coming out, the food was not ready yet. He patted Mu Yuha's buttocks and saw her twist and stare over. He laughed and turned into the living room. In no time, a table of delicious food was placed in front of me. Braised pork belly in brown sauce, stir-fried vegetable heart with minced garlic, steamed fish, seaweed egg vegetable soup. The soft and sticky meat aroma, delicious fish aroma, and other vegetable aromas instantly spread, making his fingers twitch. Wow, 3 dishes and 1 soup today, it's not bad. Lu Yoxing chuckled and was about to have dinner when someone suddenly knocked on the door. Who is it? He stood up in confusion and went to open the door, but the landlady brought someone to see the house. Sorry, Xiaolu. This girl wants a 1-bedroom, 1-living-room house and doesn't want to walk so far to see another building. I think the layout of your room is the same as there, so I'll take her to take a look. Sorry to bother you. Hee hee, the dishes tonight are not bad. The landlady apologized. After a few glances, the two of them left. The warm atmosphere just now is completely gone. Lu Yoxing frowned slightly, holding a breath in his heart. I rented this room before mainly for the sake of my mother. After all, the warehouse was too desolate to accommodate people, especially my mother had a tendency towards depression at the time. Later, my mother lived with them for a while and gradually improved, but she didn't want to live with them anymore. In private, I told him that my current daughter-in-law doesn't like living with her elders. Although Mu Yuha didn't mention it on the surface, she also felt a bit uncomfortable. Mu Yuha has been under a lot of pressure since she got married, and our family cannot let her suffer any unnecessary grievances. So one day she secretly packed up her things and returned to the countryside. Lu Yoxing and Mu Yuha advised her several times, but only then did they give up when they saw that she was firmly unwilling to come back. I can only go back and take a look from time to time. Fortunately, his mother had already overcome the shadow of his father's death at that time, which made him feel much more at ease. Mu Yuha shook his hand. Hurry up and eat, otherwise it won't heat up if it gets cold. Lu Yoxing forced a smile and started eating. The steadfast way in my heart is to give Mu Yuha a true home. Renting a house, no matter how long it is rented, is ultimately owned by the landlord, not them. Of course. Before that, he needs to repay the debt first. At 9 o'clock in the evening, Lu Yoxing stayed alone in the room, closed the door, took out his phone, and felt a slight excitement in his heart. Click on the game, Magical Manor. 9-grid farmland reappears on the screen. I saw that the farmland, which had been a bit quiet before, was now covered with lush strawberry vines. The tender green leaves set off the strawberries hanging on the vines, making them even more bright red. Time to maturity remaining. 0.0.10 seconds, 1980.7. He finished counting the last 10 seconds, and then, in his eyes, the mature timeline disappeared. Instead, there is an introduction to strawberries. Red strawberry, quality. 1 star. Introduction. Advanced strawberries developed in a special gaming environment, with a taste that can be considered the top of the world. Upon seeing this introduction, Lu Yoxing's heart skipped a beat, and then he took a deep breath. Next, it's the key to success or failure. With his previous experience, he no longer hesitated and directly reached out to the screen. As he stared intently, his hand touched the phone screen. Immediately, he suddenly had a strange feeling, as if he hadn't touched the screen and instead came across a strawberry. He couldn't help but scratch and pulled out the strawberry. The next moment. Wow! Dozens of strawberries popped up on the phone screen and landed on the bed like dumplings. Count carefully, there are a total of 20. They are all big heads, plump and deep red in color, like bright rubies, but with a charming sweetness, charming and charming. Lu Yoxing picked up one of them and bit it down. The fruit was crushed, and in its smooth taste, a sweet juice flowed out with a hint of acidity, instantly conquering his taste buds. After finishing, there was still a rich fruity aroma in the mouth that lingered for a long time. He has never tasted such delicious strawberries before. It's done. He was uplifted in his heart. After the seeds mature, the fruits can be extracted, and the taste is so good that they can definitely sell for a good price. A grid of land can grow 20 seeds, about 1 kilogram. 9 grids means 9 pounds. If cooked twice a day, it can sell 18 pounds a day. How much is a kilogram of strawberries? He has seen the most expensive strawberry, 50 yuan per kilogram. Of course, the season, place of origin, and variety vary, and the prices at which they can be sold also vary. But he is certain that the strawberries he grows are definitely top-notch in the world. In theory, it can sell for 50 yuan per kilogram. His strawberries are not well known now, they definitely won't sell so much. But even if he sells it for 20 yuan per kilogram, he can still earn 360 yuan a day. 1 month is 10,800. And what about the cost? Almost negligible. This is truly a great profit. He has developed. Chapter 4. Sales Channels. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ads by Google equals window. Ads by Google. Push, dong dong dong. Just as Lu Yoxing was overjoyed, the door suddenly rang. Star, don't be unhappy. The matter of money is a small issue. My plan to get into graduate school is certain, and our family's income will skyrocket by then. Your family's lotus seed has a bright future, thanks to your husband's support. Open the door quickly. Upon hearing words coming from outside the door, the softness in Lu Yoxing's heart was once again touched, creating a warm sensation. This is Mu Yuha. She never forces him to strive and earn money desperately. In this era of confusion after graduating from university, she knew that he, who was suddenly burdened with over 200,000 yuan in debt, was even more at a loss. He is just an ordinary person, increasing the pressure will only make him collapse. So she chose to silently take the postgraduate entrance exam, while working hard herself. She also gave him time. He decisively gave up pesticides and converted the semi-finished product room into a warehouse, both of which proved that he was not incompetent. It's just a debt of just over 200,000 yuan, why bother making life a mess? This is also one of the reasons why their married life remains as passionate as love. Hee, do you think I'm not happy? He stood up and opened the door, dang 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 dang. Actually, he was preparing a surprise for you. Seeing Lu Yoxing jump up to her and embrace her, Mu Yuha hesitated for a moment, then blinked and asked. What surprise? Curiously looking inside, I suddenly saw nearly 20 strawberries lying quietly on the bed. Did you buy strawberries before? She really likes to eat strawberries, but that's not a big surprise, is it? Seeing Lu Yoxing's mysterious expression, she walked up to the bed and looked carefully. Ah! Look at this strawberry, it looks like a red agate. Mu Yuha said, picked up a strawberry and took a bite. The clear and sweet juice flowed out, instantly causing her taste buds to fully bloom. The faint hint of acidity actually made the sweetness even more extreme, and the deliciousness was directly on her head. Her eyes widened slightly, and her expression became pleasantly surprised. This strawberry is so delicious. She ate several times in a row before turning around with a satisfied expression on her face. Excitedly, she hugged Lu Yoxing tightly and gave him a strawberry-flavored kiss, then curiously asked. Where did you buy this strawberry from? It should be very expensive, right? Lu Yoxing chuckled and said. This is a new variety given to me by a distant relative of mine, which is not yet available on the market. He thought it over and over, but for now, he still can't let others know about the game. Even if it's a lotus soaked in rain, it's best not to. After all, if this kind of thing were to spread, it would definitely cause a huge uproar and may even endanger one's life. If one less person knows, there is less possibility of exposure. No wonder. It's so delicious. Compared to this kind of strawberry, I used to eat only sour plums. Haha. I'm planning to buy some strawberries from that distant relative and sell them. What do you think? Not bad, it must be a big seller. I'll have another one. Don't worry, it's all yours. Now I want to eat you. Don't. After more than half an hour. Mu Yuha had a rosy face and a satisfied expression. Her body softened and she stretched lazily, revealing her graceful and charming figure. As I watched the round and smooth leaves, I heard the sound of water dripping from the toilet. Lu Yoxing smiled slightly. He is not in a hurry to clean, because Mu Yuha has already helped him clean it. He sat on the bed, took out his phone, and clicked on the game, Fantastic Manor. As expected, all the other strawberries have already matured. Oh, why do these strawberries grow so little? Lu Yu's stargazes flickered brightly. At first glance, the strawberries in the lower right corner of the field were all tender green leaves. The bright red fruits are sparse, making it difficult to detect without careful inspection. What's going on? Even when I was harvesting the middle strawberry, this field was still covered with strawberries. He quickly scanned the strawberries in other fields. It's okay. The other strawberries are all good. There's something strange, let's take it first before we talk. He was about to harvest strawberries when suddenly a question came to his mind. If all these strawberries are taken out, there are too many to explain to Mu Yuha. Moreover, strawberries are prone to spoilage. If so many strawberries are taken out without proper packaging and storage, it will affect their appearance. Does this field game have a warehouse? He rose and then examined it carefully again. After flipping through it several times, I finally saw a faint box right below the screen. He was invigorated. I'm familiar with this item list. However, is there only one grid? He thought with some regret. Then he tried and found that pulling it by hand was not enough. He needed to use a shovel to shovel it, which would automatically enter the item compartment. I shovel and shovel. In the end, all the strawberries were collected in the grid directly below the field. He tried again and found that the strawberries he took out couldn't fit in anymore, so he had to give up. Red strawberry. 143. This is the total number of strawberries in the game. 8 grid strawberries can hold 20 per grid, which should be a total of 160. I don't know why, but the strawberry in the bottom right corner lost most of the strawberries and only received 3 in the end. This caused him considerable pain. If it weren't for his early discovery, there might have been more strawberry losses. Next time, you must not miss the moment of ripening. I want to see how strawberries disappear. He made a secret decision. After the strawberries are picked, the strawberry vines turn into ash and disappear. He took advantage of Mu Yuha's bathing and went to Shuyuan www.zhaoshuyuan.com to take out a tissue. He also took a small knife, cut off the outer skin of the strawberry, air-dried it, and took the seeds. So, he planted 9 more strawberries. Watching the strawberries start to grow in the field, and after 12 hours they can be harvested again, he feels very excited. From then on, his tomorrow is no longer a chaotic confusion, but a clear and visible path of sunshine. The next day, he rode an electric bike to the deserted village. This is the common name for all the unlucky people who bought the land here. This is indeed about the size of a village. Half of the houses are still being renovated, but there are also residents who have already moved in. They either go to work or take their children to school in the morning, heading in the opposite direction. Apart from the warehouse, the only place that can maintain stable profitability is the restaurant. The main customers are decoration workers. However, Lu Yoxing has already eaten the love breakfast made by Muyuhi, so he turns a blind eye to those steamed buns deep-fried dough sticks. He didn't rush to the warehouse, but came to the Honey Good Mood cake shop on the next street. It's 9 o'clock in the morning and the store has already opened. He stopped the electric car and when he entered the store, he saw the cashier girl playing with her phone. Noticing a guest, she hurriedly put down her phone and looked up nervously. Upon seeing that it was Lu Yoxing, she breathed a sigh of relief and smiled. "Boss Lu, are you looking for the manager so early? He's using the restroom." If it can make the cashiers dare to take out their phones to play, it's probably on the big account. Lu Yoxing's mind flashed, and then he handed the girl a bag of strawberries in his hand, saying, "When he comes out, give him this bag of strawberries and say it's from me. I have a business to discuss with him." Chapter 5. Shocked Zhao Youwei. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. De Co Lois Ara Trong Quatrin Lay Text. Chapter 6. Turned out to be a mistake. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. De Co Lois Ara Trong Quatrin Lay Text. Chapter 7. Monthly income 24,000. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. De Co Lois Ara Trong Quatrin Lay Text. Chapter 8. Mutated Red Spider. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. De Co Lois Ara Trong Quatrin Lay Text. Chapter 9. Use of Insecticides. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. De Co Lois Ara Trong Quatrin Lay Text. Chapter 10. What is this? Strawberries. Give it a try. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. De Co Lois Ara Trong Quatrin Lay Text.